Pain is something we've been conditioned to avoid. From the minute we are born, we are trained to desire comfort, stability, and ease. The world tells us to avoid suffering, to hide ourselves from hardship, and to pursue happiness through pleasure and comfort. But those who are truly successful, those who reach the heights others only dream of, know a deeper truth. They understand that ease promotes complacency and that pain is not an enemy to be feared, but a weapon to be embraced. Pain is not the impediment standing in the path of your accomplishment. It is the route. The way to greatness is not lined with nice pillows and consoling words, but with thorns, blood, and sacrifice. Success is born from the womb of struggle, sculpted by the fires of adversity, and sharpened by the blades of failure. Those who run away from the dark side of motivation, who seek only the light, will never know the heights they may have attained. For it is the darkness, the anguish, the suffering that forms us into something larger than we ever imagined imaginable. Let's be clear, this is not about romanticizing suffering for its own reason. It's about recognizing that suffering is unavoidable, that pain is a universal constant. Instead of running from it, we must learn to harness it, to use it as fuel. Those that succeed don't have less pain than you. They just know how to transform that into power. The exact thing you think is holding you back could be the key to unlocking your potential, but only if you have the courage to face it. Comfort is enticing. It offers you relaxation, ease, a life free from struggle. But comfort is a slow poison. It numbs your senses, dulls your ambition, and whispers beautiful falsehoods that assure you everything is fine just as it is. Comfort tells you that you don't need to strive harder, that you don't need to suffer, that you can just be comfortable with where you are. And that's the trap, because where you are is not where you could be. Every second you spend in comfort, you are dying a little within. You are letting your potential to wither away, stifled by the cozy blanket of mediocrity. The successful recognize that comfort is the enemy. They don't attempt to escape suffering. They chase it. They know that the only way to grow, to progress, to become something more is to push oneself beyond the confines of what feels good. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in pain, in struggle, in suffering. When you are comfy, you are not growing. You are only existing. And existing is not the same as living. Life is found in the extremes, in the regions where fear and suffering live, not in the center ground of ease. So if you find yourself at a place where everything feels easy, where you're not being challenged, where there's no fear or anxiety in what you're doing, you are not on the route to success. You are on the route to stagnation. Those who reach the top understand that pain is not to be dreaded but to be welcomed. They don't shrink at difficulty. They relish it, because they recognize that every loss, every setback, every heartbreak is an opportunity to become stronger, sharper, better. Adversity is the furnace in which greatness is made. Without the fire, without the pressure, there is no metamorphosis. When life tests you, when it gets you to your knees and fills you with doubt, that's the moment you should exult. That's when you are being offered a gift, the gift of transformation. But only if you have the will to withstand the fire. Most individuals regard failure as an end. They interpret pain as a cue to stop, to retreat. But the successful know that suffering is only a cue to keep going, to push harder, to dig deeper. Your muscles don't expand when you lift light weights. They grow when you push yourself to the verge of failure, when your body screams at you to stop, when the anguish is so terrible that every fiber of your being begs for respite. But it's in that moment, when you push through the agony, that progress happens. Your thoughts, your soul, your life are no different. If you aren't pushing yourself to the point of failure, if you aren't seeking out the agony, then you aren't growing. Success is not about avoiding failure. It's about failing over and over again and using each failure as a stepping stone. It's about being willing to suffer through the pain of failure, rejection, and heartbreak, knowing that on the other side lies progress. The dark side of motivation is not about avoiding these things, but about seeking them out, embracing them, and realizing that they are the crucible in which your potential is released. Fear of suffering is what keeps most people bound in mediocrity. They are afraid to take risks, fearful to fail, afraid to experience the discomfort that comes with pursuing something higher. But fear is an illusion. It is a cage you have erected around yourself, a wall designed to keep you safe but which also keeps you small. The fear of pain is worse than the pain itself. The expectation of suffering is frequently more devastating than the suffering ever would be. When you fear pain, you become a slave to that fear. You make judgments based not on what could elevate you, but on what will protect you. You settle for less, not because you don't want more, but because you are terrified of what it will take to get there. But those that succeed recognize that fear is only another tool. It's a signal that you are on the correct path, since the only things worth achieving are the things that scare you. Fear is not a wall. It's a gateway, and the key to unlocking that door is pain. On the other side of fear is everything you want, but you can only get there by embracing the discomfort, by stepping into the suffering, by facing your demons head-on. The pain will not break you, but your dread of it will if you allow it control you. There are two forms of pain in life: the agony of discipline and the pain of regret. Discipline is hard. It's waking up early when your body prefers sleep. It's working on your craft when everyone else is out having fun. It's saying no to short-term pleasure in favor of long-term achievement. But this anguish is fleeting. It's acute, it's intense, but it fades. And what's left is the reward, the success, the achievement, the joy of knowing you gave everything. But then there's the ache of regret, and that pain lasts forever. It's the sorrow of looking back on your life and knowing you could have done more, been more, but you were too terrified of the brief pain to push yourself. It's the sorrow of witnessing people who accepted the battle, who faced the fear, and knowing that might have been you. Regret is the biggest load you will ever carry, and it never goes away. The choice is yours. You may either embrace the pain of discipline now, knowing that it will lead to greatness, or you can run from it and live with the pain of regret for the rest of your life. The successful chose discipline. They choose the short-term agony because they know it leads to long-term fulfillment. They realize that the anguish they face today is nothing compared to the pain they would feel if they let their potential slip away. Pain is energy. It is raw, primal, and strong. It has the capacity to harm you or to propel you. The difference is in how you choose to use it. Most individuals allow pain to crush them. They sense the weight of anguish and give up. But the successful learn to turn that agony into fuel. They take the energy of their sorrow and channel it into their work, into their passion, into their drive. When you are in agony, you are closer to your power than at any other time. Pain pulls away the illusions, the comfort, the distractions, and pushes you to confront what actually matters. It requires you to dig deep, to uncover the power you didn't know you had. Pain is a gift because it reveals who you truly are. In those moments of agony, you see the truth about yourself. Whether you are strong or weak, committed or complacent, a fighter or a victim. Don't waste that gift. Use it. When you are in agony, when you are suffering, when everything looks like it's falling apart, that is the moment you are closest to greatness. That is when you have the opportunity to become something more, something greater. But only if you have the will to push through it, to harness that anguish and convert it into power. Success is not about discovering the light. It's about learning to navigate the darkness. It's about knowing that pain is not the adversary, but the catalyst for progress. Those who succeed don't do so because they are free from suffering, but because they have learned to accept it, to use it, to let it shape them into something bigger. The dark side of motivation is not about finding comfort, but about embracing the challenge. It's It's about realizing that pain is the price of growth, that adversity is the path to greatness, and that the only way to reach your potential is to face your fears and push through the suffering. So don't run from the darkness. Don't hide from the suffering. Embrace it, harness it, and let it propel your rise to the top. Because in the end, it's not the light that leads to success. It's the darkness.